Christian persecution all world.
Top 10 countries.
First, North Korea.
North Korea is one of the most dangerous places in the world to be a Christian. Believers face severe persecution, including imprisonment in brutal labor camps, torture, and execution. The regime views Christianity as an existential threat to its ruling ideology and the personality cult of the Kim dynasty. The state classifies Christians as enemies and systematically denies them food, education, and employment through a system known as songbun. If someone is found to be a Christian, their entire family becomes enemies of the state and generations are sent to prison. Since open worship is strictly prohibited, Christians are forced to practice their faith in great secrecy. The anti-contradiction law makes it a crime to possess or distribute Bibles. Expressing curiosity about religion can result in life imprisonment or the death penalty. Believers often gather in small homes, usually with only loyal family members. Our partner reports that the most obvious cases of torture are not those that appear in the Western or North Korean media, but those that the North Korean government does not publicize. Undermining foreign missionaries, beating Christians to death or mass executions in football stadiums, and punishing citizens for the sole crime of possessing a Bible are all quietly taking place in North Korea. Christians are being raided in the middle of the night, and their families are being taken to a concentration camp or executed. It is a different story for North Koreans living across the border in China. For women fleeing China, Beijing's main interest is to keep them in China and play the role of wife or mother in a local family. However, if they try to escape, the authorities do not hesitate to send them back to North Korea. Surprisingly, they are encouraged to engage in religious activities with each other. As long as they stay with their families in their home country in China and do not mix with Christians of other ethnic groups or countries, or in some cases, even with Christians in other parts of China. Persecution of North Korean Christians is on the rise in both North Korea and China, as both governments view Christianity as a means of foreign influence. This is a threat to the country's sovereignty, and they are constantly developing more sophisticated means to monitor, control, and suppress such activities. Our partners believe that even more Christians in North Korea are likely to be arrested, imprisoned, deported, and martyred in 2026. They are less likely to be executed in China, but they could be returned to North Korea, where they could be killed. According to NGOs and international groups, tens of thousands of Christians are held in political prison camps. Prisoners in these camps are subjected to hard labor, severe malnutrition, and torture, and many never escape or survive.
Second, Somalia.
Somalia is consistently ranked as one of the most dangerous places in the world for Christians. Under the 2012 interim constitution and Sharia law, conversion from Islam is illegal. As a result, Christians are forced to practice their faith in extreme secrecy. The primary sources of persecution are severe and multifaceted. The militant group Al-Shabaab is very active and committed to eradicating Christianity, and it is common for suspected Christians to be executed on the spot. In Somali culture, Islam is intertwined with national and family identity. Abandoning Islam is considered a major betrayal. Those who convert are often rejected, intimidated, or violently attacked by their own families and local clan leaders. The lack of legal protection is a serious problem, and Christians have no legal recourse. With the exception of a Catholic church in Hargeisa, Somalia, there are no public church buildings in the country. Believers are so isolated that they must worship in hidden house churches to avoid surveillance and persecution. Despite these grave risks, and despite being designated an impossible faith due to extreme danger, the underground church in Somalia is reportedly experiencing growth.
Third, Yemen.
Yemen is consistently ranked among the world's most persecuted religious minorities. Christians face severe and brutal persecution due to intense social stigma, systemic discrimination, and targeted repression, which have been exacerbated by decades of civil war in the country. Christians in Yemen are facing an intense wave of arbitrary arrests and enforced disappearances. For example, authorities in Houthi-controlled areas such as Sana'a and Ib have carried out warrantless raids, detaining dozens of Christians, falsely accusing them of working in Christian interests or acting as foreign spies. Yemen is governed by strict Sharia law, and the state does not recognize conversions from Islam to Christianity. Apostasy is a crime punishable by death. Birth certificates automatically register every Yemeni citizen as Muslim, making official Christian marriages and legal existence impossible. The vast majority of Christians in Yemen are from Muslim backgrounds, so persecution often occurs at the family and tribal levels. Believers keep their faith secret to avoid abandonment, divorce, loss of custody of their children, and honor killings. Due to hostility from state authorities and terrorist groups such as Al-Qaeda, there are no public church buildings in the country. Communities of believers operate clandestinely on home networks.
4th Sudan.
Christians in Sudan, who make up about 5% of the country's population, face severe persecution, exacerbated by the brutal civil war that began in April 2023. More than 160 churches have been damaged, destroyed, or seized, and believers face severe threats, including targeted killings, forced conversions, and mass displacement. Caught in the crossfire between the Sudanese armed forces and the paramilitary Rapid Support Force, RSF, both sides have used church properties as military bases, and Christians are vulnerable to looting, kidnapping, and violence. Following the military's seizure of power in 2021, the transitional government reversed the brief progress made on religious freedom, leading to systemic discrimination in courts, schools, and workplaces. Christians in Sudan who have converted from Islam face the most severe persecution, facing constant threats, social isolation, and violence from extremist militias and their own communities. The ongoing conflict has led to a displacement crisis, driving more than 12 million people from their homes. Christians remain vulnerable as they are often denied food and humanitarian aid.
5th Eritrea.
Eritrea is often referred to as the North Korea of Africa, due to the severe religious persecution carried out directly by the state. The government systematically restricts religious freedom, targeting both unrecognized Protestant and evangelical groups and historically recognized sects. About 50% of the population is Christian. Only 4 religious groups are legally permitted and recognized: the Eritrean Orthodox Tewahedo Church, the Evangelical Lutheran Church of Eritrea, the Roman Catholic Church, and Sunni Islam. All other independent, evangelical, and Pentecostal groups are strictly illegal. Any church gathering outside of state-approved facilities, such as home Bible studies, is considered a criminal act against the state. Hundreds of Christians are held in arbitrary detention without formal charges, legal representation, or specific punishment. Christian prisoners are often subjected to brutal conditions. Many are held in crowded underground cells or metal shipping containers in the desert, where they endure extreme temperature extremes, physical abuse, and denial of medical care. The government placed the Patriarch of the Orthodox Church under house arrest, where he was held in strict isolation until his death. The militarized society, social and family isolation, and the challenges faced by converts to Christianity all create a difficult situation for Christians. 6th Syria. The persecution of Syrian Christians is a serious and growing crisis. Since the fall of the Assad regime, the country has undergone intense Islamization. Christians have faced targeted killings, forced conversions, church bombings, kidnappings, and property confiscations at the hands of extremists and militants. Syria is among the 6 most dangerous countries for Christians globally. Violent extremists have targeted prominent places of worship, with a devastating bombing of the Mar Elias Greek Orthodox Church in Damascus killing nearly 30 worshippers. As fighting continues between various militants, Bedouin factions, and local groups, Christians are often caught in the crossfire. For example, in the summer of 2025, clashes in the Suwaida Governorate destroyed churches and burned homes, leading to mass displacement. In minority areas, militants are using loudspeakers to urge Christians to convert to Islam, threatening to impose heavy taxes or death on those who refuse. The Christian population, which was once 1.5 million, has now dwindled to around 300,000. While some believers have fled the country for their survival, other Christians are struggling to maintain their presence, quietly gathering in churches.
7th Nigeria.
Christians in northern Nigeria have faced severe and escalating persecution in the past year. This has mainly taken the form of violent attacks by Boko Haram, ISWAP, Islamic State West Africa Province, Islamist militant groups and Fulani herdsmen. These have included targeted killings, the burning of mosques, kidnapping for ransom, and forced displacement from farms and villages. Often portrayed as farmer-herdsman conflicts, these have been carried out with clear religious motivations against Christian communities. A wave of attacks by Fulani militants in Plateau and Benue states in June left more than 200 Christians dead and thousands displaced in a single week, destroying homes, farms, and churches in targeted Christian areas such as Mangu and Boko Haram. In these attacks, which are linked to increasing farmer-herder conflicts amid a drought, the militants shouted jihadist slogans, forcing survivors to flee with nothing, crippling the local economy and spreading fear, with church attendance dwindling. Mission teams distributed aid to 150 affected families, but the trauma even left children too afraid to go to school. According to reports from the International Society for Civil Liberties and the Rule of Law, more than 7,000 Christians were killed in the first 220 days of 2025, and hundreds were kidnapped, tortured, or exiled. The increase in persecution stems from the uncontrolled expansion of jihadist groups driven by ideological opposition to Christianity and Western influence and inadequate security responses. Christians continue to be marginalized as second-class citizens under Islamic law Sharia in the northern states, leading to discrimination in jobs, education, and justice. Meanwhile, climate-induced resource scarcity is fueling religious-based peasant conflicts. Extremists are exploiting these to target Christian villages. In 2026, Christians in the north are under increasing pressure from ongoing jihadist insurgencies. Efforts to enforce blasphemy laws are resulting in lynchings and arbitrary arrests. Economic hardship and climate change are increasing resource-based conflicts. As highlighted in a 2025 report by the U.S. Commission on International Religious Freedom, political instability will further erode religious freedom. We foresee the risks of cross-border incursions by Sahel-based jihadists spreading into Nigeria and expect more Christians to be martyred. Without urgent action, and if the global silence continues, the number of martyrs is expected to double by 2026. Further displacements are expected as attacks have already forced millions into IDP camps. Pray for divine protection for Christians. Pray for Nigerian leaders to prioritize security and punish perpetrators impartially, and for spiritual strength and unity among believers.
8. Pakistan.
Christians in Pakistan face systematic persecution, including deadly mob attacks, targeted attacks on mosques, and the weaponization of the country's strict blasphemy laws to justify vigilance. They face threats such as blasphemy charges, mob attacks, forced conversions, and economic and social marginalization. The Tehreek-e-Labbaik Pakistan (TLP), an Islamist party banned since 2016, has been persecuting Christians across the country, particularly in Punjab province. Over the past 2 years, believers have been falsely killed on blasphemy charges. The TLP's agenda includes killing Christians who do not convert to Islam, seizing their property on false charges, and blackmailing them with threats and accusations of blasphemy. At the same time, as a Christian, you are not given your rights in educational institutions, government and private offices, and in all other areas of life, which creates fear and insecurity. However, in the long run, it is hoped that there will be a reduction in the persecution of Christians in Pakistan, as the government has recently taken steps to ban the TLP. However, the discrimination is not so optimistic, and the attitude of most people is to treat Christians as second-class citizens. They feel pressured even when dealing with the police and courts in Muslim areas, especially in feudal villages or brick kilns. Christians are very vulnerable in these environments, where girls and women are often sexually abused. Last year, our partner enabled 3 families to escape slavery in brick kilns. Christians are denied jobs and access to educational institutions, while the lack of influential representation in government means that development work in Christian communities is very limited. Many Christians are being killed in Pakistan due to mob attacks, blasphemy, and attacks on Christian churches. Especially pray for the Christian community that is being orphaned. However, our partners hope that arrests and detentions will decrease this year, and the years 2025-26 are being considered as years of Christian progress. 9th, Libya. Persecution of Christians in Libya is at its peak. It is now difficult to find a single native Libyan Christian in Libya. The vast majority of the 7 million people currently living in Libya are Muslims. Libya is currently ranked 9th in the world in terms of the most persecuted Christians. The influence of Islamic extremists has risen sharply following the 2011 Libyan revolution, which was part of the Arab Spring uprisings that took place in several countries in the Middle East and North Africa. In Libya, the revolution reached its peak on October 20, 2011, when Muammar Gaddafi, who had held and abused power for more than 4 decades, was captured and brutally killed. In February 2015, the Islamic State group ISIS beheaded 20 Coptic Egyptians and a Ghanaian Christian on the Libyan coast. Shortly thereafter, in April 2015, ISIS executed 30 Ethiopian Christians in Libya. Foreign Christians began to be kidnapped for ransom or forced into hard labor. Even open slave markets returned, and 90% of Libyan Christians fled the country. Now 15 years after the revolution, Libya is a politically fragmented country. There are various armed groups vying for power in many parts of the country. At this point, Christians in Libya usually pray secretly behind closed doors in their homes so that no one can see, said a believer from Libya's second-largest city, Benghazi. He said he wanted to attend one of the few remaining open mosques in the country. All religions and beliefs other than Islam are strongly condemned here. A significant number of young Libyans have lost interest in Islam, either because of the behavior of the militants in Libya, and most remain nominal Muslims. There are Christian priests who say they have never met a local Christian, and have an understanding with the authorities that they will not interfere in local spiritual matters. In Libya, distributing Christian religious materials to Muslims is technically punishable by death. But in reality, it usually leads to deportation and imprisonment of the perpetrators. However, if the perpetrators are genuine Libyans, the consequences are much harsher: imprisonment, physical torture, forced apostasy, etc. April 2025. As of 2025, 13 indigenous Libyan Christians were awaiting trial. The group includes a Libyan man who, despite years in prison, has not renounced his Christian faith. He was sentenced to death in September 2022, but the sentence does not appear to have been carried out yet. Religion other than Islam is definitely not an option for the local population, he said. It is impossible to find a Bible here. In August 2025, Amnesty International called for the convictions of 11 Christians convicted in Libya to be overturned, citing grossly unfair trials. The human rights group said the trials of 9 Libyan men, 1 Libyan woman and 1 Pakistani man were replete with serious violations of due process and international human rights standards. Between March and August 2023, members of the Internal Security Agency, ISA, arrested Christians without issuing arrest warrants. Amnesty International called on the public prosecutor to immediately review all cases of people detained for criminal prosecutions solely on the basis of ISA investigations. Indigenous Libyan Christians who have converted from Islam face daily pressure from their families and communities to renounce their faith. Severe domestic violence, forced marriage, house arrest, and honor killings are the consequences. Many Christians in Libya are sub-Saharan migrants. They are constantly subjected to extortion, kidnapping, and physical abuse by criminal syndicates and radical Islamic groups. The political chaos prevailing in western Libya and the imposition of strict morality police have made all religious minorities vulnerable to surveillance and institutional discrimination.
10th Iran.
Christians in Iran face severe systemic persecution, ranking 10th on the Open Doors International World Watch List. The government views the rapid growth of the underground house church movement as a major national security threat. Christians directly involved in ministry in Iran were a particular target of the authorities in 2025. It is clear that there is a campaign underway in Iran to stop the spread of Christianity, arrest those who lead house churches and those involved in evangelism and teaching. Believers are often sentenced to harsh prison terms for crimes such as acting against national security or collaborating with foreign entities. Persecution is on the rise, as authorities are aware of the growing number of converts in house churches and are determined to stop it. Muslims who convert to Christianity face the death penalty under conversion laws and are closely monitored. Their goal is to eradicate the Persian-speaking church and allow only Christian minority groups to operate. Christian workers are given long prison sentences. There are concerns that when bad Muslims convert to Christianity, the government is unwilling to recognize or accept their rights. Believers may face opposition or persecution from their families in their work or studies. They said that in 2026, converts, especially leaders and ministry workers, are facing increasing pressure. The fear of persecution itself is a concern, because believers do not know whether they are under surveillance when they gather in their homes, and these pressures has led to exodus, mainly to Turkey, which is likely to continue into 2026. However, many Iranian refugees in Turkey are finding it increasingly difficult to settle, and some are facing deportation back to Iran. Released prisoners are routinely blacklisted from employment and education. Pray for the protection of housing churches and the training of new ministers. Also for Christians in prison, especially those serving long sentences,